Alright, so getting on with our positional rankings, today we're going to be hopping into the top 10 starting pitchers in baseball. And this was a really hard list to make because there's just so much talent across baseball when you're looking at starting pitchers. So I might have left off some players that you think would have been on this list, but I'm going to go over a couple of honorable mentions at the end of the video. So with that in mind, let's hop right into these rankings. Coming in at number 10, I have Sandy Alcantara of the Miami Marlins. Now, a lot of people might not think of Alcantara as a top 10 pitcher in baseball, but this guy is really good. Last year, Alcantara pitched in 206 innings where he went 9-15 with a 3.19 ERA to go along with a 1.07 whip and 201 strikeouts. He's been progressively getting better and better throughout his career, and last year was his best season yet. Now, he did make the All-Star team back in 2019, but last year he looked like a completely different pitcher. He looked like he was just dominating every single batter up there every single time. He has a fastball that reaches triple digits pretty consistently to go along with some decent off-speed stuff as well. I'm really big on Alcantara this year. He's heading into his age 27 season, and I think he's a dark horse Cy Young candidate. Moving on at number 9, I have Julio Urias of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, just a couple years back, Urias was widely known as one of, if not the best pitching prospect in all of baseball, as he made his debut in LA at only 19 years old. And last year, he showed why he had all of the hype around him. He pitched in 185 innings where he went 20-3 with a 2.96 ERA to go along with a 1.02 whip, 195 strikeouts, and a 4.7 WAR. And as we stand today, Urias is still only 25 years old. So going forward, I would not be surprised to see him have a repeat performance of what he did last year, or maybe even get better. He's in a loaded rotation over in LA. He has a lot of good pitchers to learn from, including Clayton Kershaw and Walker Buehler, so I think this guy is going to be, like I said, just as good, if not better, going forward. He is an all-around amazing pitcher, and I have him coming in at number 9. Moving on at number 8, I have Zach Wheeler of the Philadelphia Phillies. Wheeler is one of those pitchers who, similar to Urias, was a top prospect before making his debut on the Mets a couple years back. Now, the injuries did hinder Wheeler throughout his early years, as he missed 2015 and 2016 due to various surgeries. But ever since returning in 2017, he has been a very good pitcher. He produced in his last couple years in New York, and ever since coming over to Philadelphia, he has been a completely different pitcher. In 2020, he pitched in 71 innings where he had a 2.92 ERA. And last year, Wheeler just took it to another level. He pitched in 213 innings where he went 14-10 with a 2.78 ERA with a 1.01 whip, 247 punchouts to go along with a 7.7 WAR. Now, those 247 strikeouts led all of baseball, and the 7.7 WAR was second in baseball, only behind Shohei Ohtani. He finished second in the National League Cy Young voting, only behind Corbin Burns. So while Wheeler is heading into his age 32 season, he showed last year he has a lot left in the tank, and I think he's going to be a very productive pitcher for Philadelphia going forward. Moving on at number 7, I have Brandon Woodruff of the Milwaukee Brewers. Woodruff is one of those players who is really good, but he just simply doesn't get the love that he deserves. Outside of his rookie season, he hasn't had an ERA above 3.7. And similar to Zach Wheeler, Brandon Woodruff notched it up last year. He pitched in 179 innings where he went 9-10 with a 2.56 ERA to go along with a .97 whip, 211 strikeouts, and a 5.7 WAR. He's a two-time All-Star, and he's heading into his age 30 season, so he has clearly a lot left in the tank. He hasn't pitched too much throughout his career because he made his debut as a 24-year-old, so I think he has a lot left in the tank, and he's going to be a really good pitcher going forward. So while he might be overshadowed by one of his fellow teammates that we're going to talk about in a little bit here, he's still a really good pitcher, and I have him coming in at number 7. Moving on at number 6, I have Max Scherzer of the New York Mets. Scherzer is one of those players who's been around for a really long time. He is clearly one of the best pitchers of this generation. He's an 8-time All-Star, a 3-time Cy Young winner, and last year at age 37, he had arguably one of his best seasons. And one crazy stat is that in Scherzer's 8 All-Star campaigns, he has not finished outside of the top 5 in Cy Young voting. So this guy's been one of the best for a very long time, and he's clearly going to go down as a Hall of Famer. And after an off 2020 season where he pitched to a 3.74 ERA, a lot of people were questioning what Scherzer had left in the tank. But he proved to everyone that he still had it, as he pitched in 179 innings where he went 15-4 with a 2.46 ERA, a .86 whip to go along with 236 punchouts and a 5.2 WAR. And Scherzer now being age 37, I wouldn't be surprised to see him have a little bit of a drop-off in production in his first season in New York. but he's still a really good pitcher, and I have him coming in at number 6. Moving on at number 5, I have Shane Bieber of the Cleveland Guardians. Bieber made his debut in 2018, and ever since then, he's been one of the best pitchers in the game. In 2019, he finished 4th in the Cy Young voting, and in 2020, he won the award. And last year, Bieber did have a relatively productive season, but he was injured for the majority of it. He pitched in 97 innings where he went 7-4 with a 3.17 ERA to go along with a 1.21 whip, 134 punchouts, and a 2.6 WAR. This guy has some of the best strikeout stuff in all of baseball. He has a very good fastball to go along with an amazing slider and changeup. Bieber is still only 26 years old, so going forward, I think he is going to be a legitimate Cy Young candidate, and I would not be surprised to see him win another Cy Young going forward. Bieber is an amazing overall pitcher. He's top 5 in the game today, and I have him coming in at number 5. Moving on at number 4, I have Walker Buehler of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Buehler is an absolute stud, and in my eyes, he gets overlooked far too much. Now, this may be because he is in a very talented rotation that last year consisted of players like Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw, and Julio Urias. But in all honesty, you could make the argument that Buehler was the best pitcher in that rotation last year. He was a legitimate Cy Young candidate. He was just amazing all year long. All in all, Buehler pitched in 208 innings where he went 16-4 with a 247 earned run average with a .97 whip, 212 punchouts, and a 6.7 WAR. Buehler's a 2-time All-Star. He's still only 27 years old, so he's right in the middle of his prime right now. I think he's going to continue to be a very good pitcher going forward. And one thing that surprises me with Buehler, with how good he's been throughout his career, that he's never finished top 3 in the Cy Young voting. Last year, as good as he was, he finished 4th in the voting, so I think he's just still so undershadowed and underappreciated. So Buehler is one of my favorite players to watch in baseball, and he is definitely one of the best pitchers in the game today. Getting into the top 3, at number 3, I have Garrett Cole of the New York Yankees. Cole is clearly one of the best pitchers in the game, and it has been that way for a couple of years now. Ever since being traded from Pittsburgh over to Houston in 2018, Cole has taken his game to another level. In 2019, he had a ridiculous campaign where he won 20 games and struck out 326 batters with a 2.5 ERA and did not win the Cy Young Award. So as good as Garrett Cole has been up to this point, it really blows my mind that he's not won a Cy Young so far up to this point in his career, especially after that ridiculous 2019 season. Now, as we stand today, Cole is obviously on the Yankees, and last year was his first full season with New York, and he showed up. He pitched in 181 innings where he went 16-8 with a 3.23 ERA with a 1.06 whip, 243 strikeouts, and a 5.7 WAR. He finished 2nd in the Cy Young voting last year, only behind Robbie Ray. And as we stand today, Garrett Cole is 31 years old, but it's clear he still has a lot left in the tank. He pumps his fastball up over triple digits pretty regularly. So going forward, I think this guy still is in his prime. I wouldn't be surprised to see him win that illustrious Cy Young Award in the next couple of years. Moving on at number 2, I have Corbin Burnes of the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, some people might think this is a little bit high considering Corbin Burnes hasn't been doing it for very long. In fact, last year was his first full season in the big leagues, but he did end up winning the National League Cy Young Award. He pitched in 167 innings where he went 11-5 with a 2.43 ERA and .94 whip, 234 punchouts, and a 5.7 WAR. And as good as Corbin Burnes was last year, he was probably better than his numbers suggested. He led all of baseball with a 1.63 FIP, a 176 ERA+, .4 home runs per 9 innings, and 12.6 strikeouts per 9 innings. This guy just dominated all around, and he was a big reason why Milwaukee was as good as they were last year. And going forward, considering he's still 27 years old only, I think he's going to be very good, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him win another Cy Young in the near future. And moving on at number 1, the best pitcher in all of baseball, it's Jacob deGrom. deGrom is the clear-cut number 1 option in my opinion. I just don't think there's anyone close to deGrom at this point. Last time we saw deGrom on the field, he was putting up video game type numbers. He only pitched in 92 innings, but in those 92 innings, he went 7-2 with a 1.08 ERA, a .55 whip to go along with 146 strikeouts, and a 5.0 WAR. If he played a full season, he was running away with the Cy Young Award. He would have won it, and it would not have been close. He put up a 5.0 WAR in only 92 innings, so if he pitched a full season, there was real reason to believe that he could have put up a 10-win season. With what this guy has done over the past couple seasons, he's just separated himself from the rest of the pack. He is clearly the best pitcher in the game. He's a 2-time Cy Young Award winner, a 4-time All-Star, and he won the Rookie of the Year award back in 2014. DeGrom is one of the few players in baseball today that I will go out of my way to make sure I see him every time he's on the field. He's an absolute superstar, and I have him coming in at number 1. All right, so there you have my top 10 pitchers in baseball today. Let me know what you guys think down below, where you agree or disagree. And as always, if you guys do enjoy the content, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to continue to post a lot more videos here as we head closer to the 2022 season. And lastly, I want to thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.